But she didn't do anything. She said she would, but she didn't do it because
everybody got a cross to bear. Everybody got a scar to wear.
And I didn't do anything, but they always have to do that. And I don't know why they try to do that to me. And I'm like, no, way.
Every child comes into this world as a genius and will remain a genius unless he or she is domesticated, traumatized, or dehumanized. What influences children in developing their talents or ignoring their talents? There are 4 important factors. 1, parents' background. I'm talking about your parents' beliefs, work ethics, morals, the sharing of love. Did they give you positive encouragement? What about their spiritual values? Number 2, childhood environment. What was your childhood like? The living conditions, parent supervision. Were you supervised or were you left home alone? Did you feel safe in your home and neighborhood? What about your diet? The type of food you ate, nutrition, health, hygiene, and exercise. Number 3, education. Education is spiritual and mental, and both have to be developed. Spiritual education is a right brain activity, and it's universal. And it's derived from the soul, like intuition, discernment, sharing, wisdom, bravery, music, art, math, etc. Mental education is a left brain activity. It's your intellect, and it's the main courses taught in school. Number 4, your later personal experience. Those whom experienced a childhood in which they were traumatized or surrounded by ignorance can change through discipline and still develop into a genius. However, most people will become domesticated and will allow others to control their lives. A good example is the little Albert experiment. Give me a baby and I can make any kind of man out of that baby. Give me a baby and I can make any kind of woman out of that baby. That was the quote of John B. Watson. John B. Watson was an American psychologist who established the psychological school of behaviorism. His famous study was called the Little Albert Experiment, and it was published in 1920. Little Albert was a baby who did not recognize fear. Little Albert was not afraid of the animals that Mr. Watson presented, the monkey, the dog, the rabbit, the rat. He played with the animals. And then John Watson programmed Little Albert to fear all of those animals, even the Santa Claus mask.
Give me a baby, and I can make any kind of man. These are the words of John B. Watson, the founder of behaviorism. According to this worldview, the behavior of organisms, including human beings, is predictable and therefore controllable. In 1920, at Johns Hopkins University, Watson experimented on several babies ranging in age from 3 months to a year. experiments were remarkable in their simplicity. He would present a candle to infants to see if they were afraid of fire. He would introduce animals to their environment to see if the children were afraid of them naturally, or only after a traumatic experience. He would make a hissing noise and observe the results. Watson learned that newborn babies had no fear of the dark. He also learned, however, that such fear could be conditioned. And so it was with rabbits. This baby, known as Little Albert, initially found delight in touching a rabbit. Yet, as Watson began to clang a steel rod and claw a hammer behind the child's head whenever he touched the creature, the reaction became not one of delight, but terror. Soon, the mere sight of the rabbit would elicit fear, even when no noise was provided, a fear that also extended to objects and textures of a similar type. From his experiments, Watson reached a radical conclusion which would come to define political and social engineering in the 20th century. The driving force in society, he claimed, is not love, but fear.
A perpetual cycle of false information and ignorance is recycled each generation from parent to child. Most children are not taught that they are very important and geniuses. Most parents are miseducated and give their children a false identity. Parents can genuinely love a child and repeatedly make negative statements and negative labels to that child. It is not uncommon for some parents to cuss their children out with profanity or holler and scream at their children in a negative manner. And on a personal note, I have to admit that I was a victim of being hollered and screamed at and cussed out. And I perpetuated that by doing the same to my children, hollering and screaming at them. You get quick, instant results, but the negative consequences is tremendous. And as I grew older and mature, I had to break that cycle. So I stopped doing that. But this is something that was passed down from generation to generation, all the way back to slavery, where we were the victims of this abuse. And I say to all of those who are listening to the sound of my voice, do you enjoy being hollered and screamed at or cussed out? And the answer is no. So we all must stop this. Okay, let me get it back on track. Many parents and adults have called children the following words: loser, you bad, you idiot, stupid, lazy ass, no good, can't get right, you slow, retard, dummy. Here come trouble. Hey, troublemaker. Fatty, fatso, stubborn, you hard-headed, forgetful. What you want me to do, tie it around your neck? Monkey. Hey, stinky, stinky butt, big head. Here come ugly. Adults torture and beat children with words and labels like, you can't do anything right, can you? I hate you. You just like your no good daddy. Why don't you be like so-and-so? You can't do it. You're gonna fail like always. You're fooling yourself. You can't get along with anyone, can you? Nobody likes you. You sorry, weak, scary cat, black ass, get your black ass in the house now. Those negative words and labels affect children's self-image. What adults say in the presence of children affect their future. You're looking at the picture of Denise, a little grade school girl who believes that she has no future. Denise has been programmed and conditioned that she will be poor when she become a grown lady. The nieces ask, what do you want to become when you grow up? And she says, a cleaning lady, a maid. She is also asked, how many children do you want to have? And her answer is 1, because I won't be able to afford 2.
T'as aimé bien pita, le grand, qui rêve.
m'a fait travail.
C'est ça t'as aimé faire?
Oui,
Ou t'as aimé les petites?
oui,
Combien?
j'en sais.
En scène?
Oui,
Oui, c'est en scène.
ma case est vacée.
Children raised with a false identity suffers self-doubt, self-criticism, self-pity, fear, and self-hatred. This is what happens when you're taught to hate yourself.
Is the pretty doll. Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me.
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one,
Okay.
that doll.
Get out and stay woke. You can turn your life around and become a genius, and it's never, never too late. Now listen and pay attention. You must tell your daughter and son that they are important every single day until it sinks in, and treat them with love. The same way you would treat baby Jesus or baby Queen Elizabeth. All children are royalty. All children are important. All children have a soul. And we as parents have a responsibility to assist our children in developing their soul. Children's self-importance must be grounded in spiritual consciousness, which gives each child self-confidence and humbleness without an ego. It does not matter what environment a child is brought up in, whether it's rich, middle class, or poor. It does not matter what income bracket your parents may be in. It does not matter if your child is raised with a mother and father or a single parent. That child will produce great accomplishments if the child is taught his or her true identity. A child taught that he or she is important will think deeply and want to know the whys of life. that child will question everything, and the parent is responsible to point the child in the right direction for the answer. Everybody is born a genius. You just have to turn your light switch on. Curtis Wall Street Curl turned his light switch on.
I grew up in Oakland, California, with my mother and members of my immediate family addicted to crack cocaine. My environment consisted of living with family, friends, and homeless shelters. Oftentimes, dinner was served in bread lines and soup kitchens. At 17 years old, I was arrested for robbery murder. And I soon learned that finances in prison rule more than they did on the streets, so I wanted in. One day, I rushed to grab the sports page of the newspaper so my cellie could read it to me. And I accidentally picked up the business section. And this old man said, "Hey, youngster, you pick stocks?" And I said, "What's that?" He said, "That's the place where white folks keep all their money." So at 20 years old, I did the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. I picked up a book. And it was the most agonizing time of my life, trying to learn how to read. But little did I know, I was receiving the greatest gifts I'd ever dreamed of. Self-worth, knowledge, discipline. I was so excited to be reading that I read everything I could get my hands on. Candy wrappers, clothing logos, street signs, everything. That according to MarketWatch, over 60% of the American population has under $1,000 in savings. Sports Illustrated said that over 60% of NBA players and NFL players go broke. 40% of marital problems derive from financial issues. What the hell? You mean to tell me that people work their whole lives buying cars, clothes, homes, and material stuff but we're living check to check? How in the world were members of society going to help incarcerated individuals back into society if they couldn't manage their own stuff? We screwed. I co-founded a program that we call Financial Empowerment Emotional Literacy. We call it FEEL. And it teaches how do you separate your emotional decisions from your financial decisions. And the 4 timeless rules to personal finance. The proper way to save. Control your cost of living. Borrow money effectively. And diversify your finances by allowing your money to work for you instead of you working for it.
You are a genius. Just turn your light switch on. A genius that was written out of the history books was Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a true humanitarian, a futurist, a scientist, and inventor. Tesla mastered the way electricity would be produced and distributed. Tesla built a magnifying transmitter that would provide unlimited free energy and wireless communication to the entire world for free. It was Tesla's gift to the world, to the masses. But J.P. Morgan and the power elite was against free energy because you can't put a meter on it or charge a monthly bill. Therefore, J.P. Morgan and the power elite shut Nikola Tesla down and his laboratory was burned to the ground. Just imagine, with Tesla free energy, you would not have an electric bill, no gas bill, no utility bill, no cell phone bill, no telephone bill, not having to buy gas for your car, no cable or direct satellite TV bill, no internet bill, etc. You are a genius. Turn your light switch on. There was no such thing as a home security system until the genius Marie Brown invented it. Do you realize that you would not have a personal computer if it wasn't for the genius Dr. Mark Dean? Have you ever used a fax machine or a touch-tone telephone, a caller ID or call waiting? Well, that was the genius Dr. Shirley Jackson. The blueprint for your life is a book called Life Blueprint is Hidden Inside You by the genius Julius Smith. Frank Mann. Who is Frank Mann? Frank Mann changed the game. He designed the American first sports car that is the car of the century. Mr. Mann designed the Corvette and the LeSabre. Frank Mann was a mechanical genius, an aeronautic and aerospace engineer, a sports car designer, spacecraft, aircraft designer, and the instructor for the Tuskegee Airmen. Frank Mann dreamed and built sports cars. Detroit copied them and American drove them. Frank Mann has a book. It's called The Hidden Genius by H.T. Breyer. Everybody is a genius. Just turn your light switch on.
So scared I'm the one.